So cute. And we have a puppy joining us. All right, welcome everyone. So it is Friday, our last workshop of the week. So thank you all for being here. We have already gone through our pillars of health. So we went through our mindset, fitness, nutrition. We did sleep, and then today is stress. So there are 6 pillars. There's only 5 workshops. So technically, you do not get to social connection. However, asterisk, our award ceremony on Monday kind of serves as the social connection piece. So we will play games. We're going to get to know each other a little bit more. So if you're able to make it on Monday, the 6 to 7 o'clock Mountain Time. So it'll technically start at the same time as these workshops. It'll just be a little bit longer. And the only reason I extended it, if we finish early, we can totally leave early. But the only reason I extended it is the last time we tried to play games, we were like rushing through the whole process. And I felt like I had to talk like I was on speed, which I'm doing right now. So I extended it a little bit so we have a little bit more time to get to know each other, to do some games and stuff like that. So if you can come, that would be awesome. If you do come, as a reminder, you get entered into our raffle. So we're going to have some prizes for our top contenders. And then we do also have prizes that we give out for our raffle people who come to the actual workshops themselves, or at least come to the awards ceremony workshop. So you've won before, right, Nathan?
Oh, various things, I think.
Oh, okay. I mean, you always come to the workshop, so there we go.
I
This is what happens.
I don't I don't think I certainly haven't ever been like the top scorer, like with all the thing, the challenge points,
Mhm.
but different categories maybe.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll take it. And again, just being present. And I know that you are, some of it's scheduling, right? So it's not going to work for everybody. A lot of people are working right now, so not a big deal. So that's why we want to try and extend that award ceremony. So yes, if you can come, that would be awesome. As a reminder, this is our 5th day. We do have 2 more days. So all tasks are still on play for Saturday and Sunday. And there's a ton of extra points up for the bonus points up for replaying or rewatching, excuse me, the replays of the workshops and answering the questions, for giving another contender a shout out, for putting your intro post up if you haven't already, for commenting on the other posts. Obviously, these are all listed in there. I just want to remind you guys that there's plenty of points available. So I will be releasing a leaderboard after this as well, so people can kind of see where they're sitting, and hopefully we'll get competitive and smash the last couple of days. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started with our stress workshop. So the first question that I have for you is, what is stress? Ray, I'm not going to call on you yet. Nathan, what is stress?
uh, Something where mm, I would say maybe could be raises your like blood pressure or just raises your anxiety, perhaps. I don't know if that's a good definition or not, but uh, makes you anxious.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray, what do you think stress is?
Yeah, kind of going off what Nathan was saying. Well, I mean, I guess stress can be a lot of different things.
Yeah.
There's stress in like emotional stress, like your nervous system, um, stress in working out, like you're stressing your body, um, mental stress. So I mean, I guess it just kind of depends, um, like what category or what type of stress we're talking about. But yeah.
Okay, can you dive more into? Oh, Nathan, you're going to say something, please.
I guess I was just gonna add sometimes for me, I think like they said, it can be different things, but can also be um like a negative thought pattern. I can work myself up about something, sometimes about things that don't even really make sense.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Cool. Okay, so then Ray, I'm going to ask you a reiteration question. So you mentioned depending on what type of stress we're talking about, and then you mentioned working out. Can you elaborate more on that piece?
Yeah, so stress, like say for example, we're um doing curls. dumbbell curls, right? So we're stressing our muscle, creating that tension in our muscle, creating that stress in our bicep because we're lifting up that weight, and that goes for any exercise we do when we lift weight, or even just body weight. Um, it causes stress to those muscles, breaks down those muscles, so they eventually, over time, they grow.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that stress is not always negative.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So Nathan, let's challenge you. Positive stressors. So we've got eustress is technically a positive stressor. Distress is technically a negative stressor, and stress does in general have a negative connotation to it. Most of what we're going to talk about today is going to be negative distress. Just to play devil's advocate, can you think of any positive stressors?
Well, I think maybe you mentioned it the other night, like procrastinating work, but I think that stress can sometimes help you do things more effectively,
Hmm.
um, or just enable you to want to do a better job at whatever
Okay.
you're doing.
That's an interesting perspective. Okay. And I'm not gonna specifically call out what I'm thinking of for you. I'm just gonna see if you come around to it. What are
Okay.
other things that could happen in your life that may feel stressful at first, but actually end up being like a blessing in disguise?
I have to think on that.
Yeah. Ray, do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so. Can I answer?
Is that okay,
Yeah.
Nathan?
Sure.
Okay.
I think change.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely been for me changing job in the last 3 weeks have been pretty mentally stressful, I would say, just because there's so
Yeah.
much stuff I don't know.
Exactly. So changing jobs, getting a promotion, having a kid, getting married, right? These are all stressors, but they're not necessarily negative. They can have some negative aspects to them where it feels maybe overwhelming, or like you mentioned, you have a lot to learn, right? But generally speaking, they are a positive thing. They just still kind of stress you out or your body out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So I wanted to make sure we at least address that first. There are positive stressors, there are negative stressors. So it's not that all stress is bad. Stress is obviously existent for a reason. It's more of like a survival mechanism more than anything, right? And so nowadays, we all know that, as you talked about, Nathan, sometimes we get stressed out about things that don't even matter, right? Or that don't even make sense. And so those types of stressors are called chronic stress. So they're not acute, they're not something that's short and it's going to be done and then you're like a test, right? That would be an acute stressor. But maybe having a partnership that you want to get out of, or a job that you don't enjoy, or, we have all kinds of reasons to overwhelm and give ourselves a little bit of anxiety. So those are going to be the chronic stressors. So let's talk really quickly about what is the problem or the negative things that a chronic stress can do to you. And actually, let me take one step back. When you think about stress, obviously we don't want it, but how do you think it affects you before we even talk about the body itself?
You
Yeah.
mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask or say, I don't know, I kind of get a physical reaction, I would say, when I feel stress
Okay.
at times.
What does that physical reaction feel like?
Um, it's hard to just feeling overwhelmed and tired, and can sometimes, like, for me, at least kind of my chest can feel like it tightens up. I mean, I think I've been pretty fortunate at not having like major, super major stressors as of late, but like but yeah, I guess I'll stop there. See
Okay.
if Ray has anything to add.
Yeah. I think I feel like I say this a lot, but I think it also heavily depends on the person because a lot of people react to stress in different ways. Just like for chronic stress, I know sometimes um, having that chronic stress, you can start to lose hair.
Mm.
Um, or there's some types where it's more mentally, you feel foggy, cloudy, almost like numb. Um, Maybe physical ways where, your body just doesn't feel good and you're just tired all the time, exhausted. Yeah.
Okay. So when we think of stress, is it just like an annoying thing that exists that we have to deal with? Or,
I I don't think it is. I
okay,
think stress, while some stress isn't all good, like I still think it's something that we can learn from and learn how to navigate.
okay. Nathan, what do you think?
I'm gonna say both. I I think yeah, we can choose how we react, but I also think I guess maybe what I was trying to get at earlier is like sometimes like chronic stress. I mean, maybe a little bit at my last job at times I would have stress over days, but I think sometimes chronic stress can come from things outside of our control. Um,
Mm,
whatever the case may be, maybe like had a major like disaster at with their house or a hard relationship or something like that can kind of sometimes be out of our control maybe.
yeah, absolutely. And so I guess the thing that I'm trying to get at a little bit is similar to when we were talking about sleep yesterday, where we knew that there were all of these negative pieces of not getting enough sleep, but then we also acknowledged that we might not go to bed on time because we didn't have a good nighttime routine, we didn't cut ourselves off, or whatever the case is, right? So I kind of want to draw the same analogy here with the stress piece. So, Ray, you say it's something that we can adapt to. Nathan, you
Mhm.
say that it's something that exists and sometimes is outside of our control. Do we always do something about our stress, or is it something that you just deal with?
Uh, do you mean like some kind of reaction that we have or
Yeah, or like, are you proactive about it? Are you managing it at all? Because I know a bunch of people, maybe you're not included. I know a bunch of people who are super stressed out all the time. And they're like, well, I know I should do XYZ for myself, but I
yeah.
just don't have time. I'm too busy. I've got too much going on, right? And so then they just perpetually put off actually being proactive and actually like taking care of it in the forefront is kind of what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like I manage my stress pretty well.
Okay.
Um, Maybe with some things more than others, but generally speaking, I think yeah, I do I am able to manage my stress.
Okay. And how do you do that?
So once I become aware of like what is stressful, what caused me that stress, not that I try to avoid it and try not to let it happen again, but the next time that I put myself in that situation, I make sure I go through it with the intention or having that intention of um, getting it done, but in a way that I know that like aligns like with like what I believe and how I do things.
Okay.
Like for example, like real quick example, like schoolwork. I wrote a paper and I did it super late, waited till the last day, and now these next homework assignments I have, I've been doing it like 5 days before the due date, just
Okay.
because I hated how I felt when I
Yes.
was trying to write that paper.
And just to make a point, that was a super quick lesson learned. So good for you. Have you written papers late before and you knew how that
Oh yeah.
felt and you still did it?
Oh yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
weird, right? Like
Oh.
sometimes, especially when things are more distant, I don't
Mhm.
know, I don't think that we don't remember how it felt, but maybe it just doesn't feel as urgent. I'm not sure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's not like you didn't know, is what I'm thinking,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. Good illustration.
Procrastination.
We all have a little bit of that. Nathan, what about you? Do you feel like you actively manage or are proactive at all about your stress?
I don't know about if I'm proactive. I think I think I know when I'm stressed, and unfortunately, I just, kind of scrolling is often
Mm-hmm.
the, my brain's off like natural default,
Yeah.
or maybe I might spend a day just relaxing, like in my chair, watching
Mm.
TV or something, or like whatever. Um, and love to find more constructive activities, I suppose, over
Yeah.
time. And sometimes maybe I do have more constructive activities, but yeah.
Good. So we got a wide range of examples there that is super duper helpful. So I always like to think of stress management, however you want to call it, that general term, in three levels. Level one is coping, level two is management, and level three is being proactive. So level one coping is typically the scrolling, the ignoring, the procrastinating. We've all been there. We continue to do it. We know, right? But it just happens. It's like that innate reaction, right? Stress happens, and that's just what your general reaction is going to be. It's worked before, you're not uncomfortable anymore, right? So it like really quickly gets rid of whatever that discomfort is for you, even though we know it might not be the most productive thing, right? Management is okay, I recognize that this is happening and I'm going to try to do something about it now or next time, like you mentioned, Ray, I'm going to try and make sure that I'm a little bit more like prepared and know what I'm going into. So that's that second piece, is understanding, and that has to come with awareness, right? We have to understand what is that stressor, how we normally cope, and then make that change. And then the last one is being proactive. I know that I'm going to go to this event where I'm going to be uncomfortable or where I will have no one to talk to. So I'm going to plan to bring a friend. I'm going to plan talking points, whatever the case is, right? And so it's those three levels of basically managing stress that we really want to try to work our way down. Should they be the other direction? Work our way down, and it can happen one step at a time. So this wasn't actually what I had planned for today, but I think it's a really good direction for us to go. So let's talk really quick about one way that you cope. Ray, what's one way that you cope? Something that's just an immediate reaction for you.
Uh, I completely like avoid what I'm doing and find something else to do.
Oh yeah, been there, definitely. Nathan, what about you?
Yeah, I might just start shutting down on things I should do, like reading through texts, or, that might be a smaller one, but start shutting down on things I should do around the house, or
Yeah,
um, things like that.
and that's that like before I assign how that feels. When you are using that coping mechanism, what are you trying to escape? What does that feel like in that moment? Like, what emotions do you think you're going through? How do you physically feel for you to be that stressed where you need to essentially disassociate?
Uh, Sometimes I feel a bit maybe like guilty, like knowing that I should like deal with what's causing me that stress,
Okay.
and I'm just deciding to avoid it. And later on, I'm still going to be stressed because I haven't faced what's stressful.
Okay. So let's go before the guilt, even because guilt is after you decided not to do the thing, right? What
Yeah.
does the thing do to you? What does that make you feel like?
Like you mean like when I avoid like that situation, like what does it
Even
feel?
before you actually avoid it, what are you trying to avoid besides the actual task itself? But
Mhm.
what does your body feel like? For me, I get anxious, like antsy.
Okay.
right? So what does that feel like to you?
Mm, I would say similar or the same or like overthinking. I
Okay.
start overthinking.
Yeah. Nathan, what about you? What does it feel like, that task that you're avoiding?
Maybe similar, just kind of like it builds up, and if it gets really bad, like I said, I might have kind of like a like even start to feel it, like tight spot in my chest, or uh, I don't know. I can start thinking too much.
Ah. And have you ever felt like your shoulders crawl up to your ears,
Mhm.
or like
Mhm.
some people get tension headaches, right? Yeah, the feeling in the chest, I definitely felt that for sure. Okay, definitely. So we know what that is, what that feeling is. We know why we cope. It's usually to disassociate from that feeling, right? So let's talk management next. So we observe the feeling and we understand what we're trying to avoid. How do we make the situation a little bit better without completely disassociating and only coping? You can come up with a specific scenario if you need to in your head, or just kind of play it general, right?
For me, when I am feeling stressed, and once I like avoid what's making me stressful, I reflect on it, I tend to tell myself, okay, this is stress. That situation is stress. I'm not stressed. Like that
Ooh.
situation that happening is stressful, but that doesn't mean that I have to be stressed or that it's that I'm stressed or stressful. Like it's just that situation. So I kind of take a step back. We're trying not to judge that
Mm.
feeling that I have. Just yeah, non-judgment, and instead kind of reshape or reroute my thoughts around it.
Beautiful. We're gonna put a pin in that because that is what this is about. So we'll get to that in a second. Nathan, what do you think you can do to manage instead of just cope?
Yeah, well, maybe like on a smaller scale, like I think for me, just like thinking one step at a time, like what's one thing I can do, or maybe I just have to, push something off that I can't finish right now.
Yeah.
I guess the story that came to mind is my my dad said that kind of sticks with me is that he's a farmer, so like you said, sometimes like a piece of equipment or just something isn't going well, and you just you just it's going really whatever's going really really bad. Sometimes you just gotta go inside for the afternoon and just relax.
Okay.
And I think that's true. I mean, it would be different for everybody, but I think there are times where you just have to step back, like totally get out of a
Yeah.
situation, maybe.
Okay. I love that. So both of you kind of ended up in a very similar place. So I'm actually going to skip being proactive. I think you guys get the idea. We can do that later. And this is going to bring it back to what this workshop was originally about. So I titled it, If You Don't Have Meditation, Try This Instead, right? We know that meditation in general is really good. It helps with resilience. It allows us to focus. It allows us to disconnect from our like emotions, basically. But sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it feels like a bit of a commitment, right? And so we're not going to dive too much into meditation specifically. What we're going to talk about is what we can do in the moment instead. Now, both of you mentioned something that is super awesome, and we're going to dive into just a couple more of these options, and then we'll go ahead and call it. So, Ray, something that you mentioned is that you disconnect from that feeling. This
Mhm.
thing is stressed, you are not stressed, right?
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
the acceptance and commitment therapy is essentially that we take whatever that feeling is and we name it, preferably out loud if you can. Write it
Mhm.
down. I love journaling for that, right? Whatever the case is, putting it in our present mind kind of takes us away from that amygdala and fight or flight response and puts us back to our prefrontal cortex, is where our logic is. And that's when you're like, oh, this isn't that big of a deal. It's probably not
Yeah.
even going to take that long, right? And like, why am I putting this off? I should, and it doesn't always, but it at least takes a step away from that, right?
Mhm.
And then Nathan, something that you mentioned that your dad said is sometimes you do just need to step away. So that regulation piece of being able to like shake it out or breathe or whatever that piece is, whatever that pause needs to be for you to create that space, because if you keep going, maybe it doesn't get any better, right? So I'll give my example first, and then I'll have each of you come up with one for yourself so that we have an action to take from this. So it was funny because Ray and I were talking, I think it was our first workshop of the year, right? When we were talking about our themes for the year. I
Mm-mm.
picked regulation because my goal is to be pretty calm and collected and be able to like catch my feelings as they come up, not to not experience them. And that's another really important part about this acceptance and commitment therapy. You have to acknowledge them, you have to give them space, and you have to allow them to happen. Like allow yourself to be able to feel that thing, because that's what emotional intelligence is. It's not shoving all of the bad feelings down and only feeling happy all the time. It's being
Yeah.
able to expand and experience a wide range of emotions and then be resilient and recover from it at the end, right? And so mine is regulation, but the word or the phrase that I'm kind of taking with me into this year is slow down. So I will be in my kitchen thinking about 20,000 things that I want to do today and just whatever, like running around the house, you know, and you start like knocking shit off of tables because you're moving too fast, and it was slow down. And so that's like my reset, my mini reset in the moment. I start to notice it. And it was funny. My husband actually caught it the other day. We were doing some financial stuff and I'm like, it really stresses me out. And he's like, slow down, you're fine. I'm like, thank you. So like that's what my reset is. So that's what we're going to talk about is like in the moment, Ray, what can be your reset? What can you do to help zone yourself back in? It could be like a tactile cue, maybe like tap the back of your hand or whatever. It could be a verbal cue. Like what can help you just pause and give yourself some space?
Yeah. Can I give something that I've been doing that still helps me and that I still plan to use?
Absolutely.
So yeah, in situations like that, I breathe out longer than I am inhaling,
Mm,
and I just count in my head, like not like some meditation, just like a quick like 6 seconds out, 4 seconds in, and I do that for um like maybe a couple breaths. But
yeah.
I have an example. I don't know if it's okay to share if or if it's too
Please,
late,
if you're
but
comfortable.
like
Are you okay, Nathan? Okay.
Yeah.
when I was in court for a traffic ticket I got, when I walked in, was standing in front of the judge and like the officer was next to me, I was so nervous. Like my chest was huffing and puffing, like my breaths were really short. And I was like, okay, like I notice, yes, I'm nervous right now. I'm breathing really hard. It's like it's okay. Like it's just you guys here, nothing bad's gonna happen. And so then I had to wait an extra 10 minutes standing there in front of the judge because he had to go get something. Somebody else had to go get something. So then I was like, okay, this is my time to just calm. And so the whole time I was really like breathing into my stomach, inhaling, exhaling longer than my inhale. And then
Mhm.
after like 2 minutes, I was like, A-okay. I was basically having a conversation with the judge. And he still found me guilty, but that's besides the point.
And that's exactly what we're looking for is a tool to use in the moment, because we can't just sit there and meditate for 20 minutes while we're
Yeah.
like stressed out about whatever the thing is, right? So Nathan, what about you? Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat the question or like the, yeah.
Yeah. What is something that you feel like you could use in the moment to help reset you and give you a little bit of a
Hmm.
pause?
Hmm. Yeah. Or maybe like a quick walk if possible,
Okay.
or even just stand up for a little bit and walk around the room or outside a little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely, definitely. And so just to throw out a couple more that I know, there's this book that I read forever ago, The Confidence Gap. It's awesome. If you ever get a chance, definitely read it. But one of the things that they talked about is, again, disassociating from that feeling. Instead of I am stressed, right? Or I am anxious, I am feeling stress. I am feeling anxious. Or like you said, that thing is stressful, but it's not you. You're not being, right? Or singing it, identifying it and singing it, or saying it in a funny voice, or imagining it in your head as text, and then changing like the colors and the size of the font. Like these are all tools to kind of disassociate from whatever that feeling is. And again, not to dismiss it, but to be able to make it so that you don't have such strong feelings in the moment so that you can process it a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yes, kind of like, so we're not attached to that, whatever that feeling
Yeah.
is.
It's not your identity, right? It's just something you're going through. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Well, I will let you go. Sorry, that was not early, but we did do 30 minutes, so we'll call it a win. And then, yes, so this is our last workshop for the week. Points for Saturday and Sunday, and then hopefully we'll see you on Monday for our awards. Thank you so much for being here.
See you guys.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.